All right, we're back with another video for you today. I've got Joe here. We're doing another house profile, house overview, but we're profiling the fragrances of Borntostandout, but we're doing it in a little different way today. We're going to do one of two different parts. They have they have two discovery sets. One's called Dark and Drunk, and another one's called Dirty and Sticky. So these are two different discovery sets featuring all of their fragrances split into two collections. So today we're talking about the Dark and Drunk fragrances from Borntostandout. Have you guys heard of this house? It's a Korean house, and they are selling currently at Ministry of Scent. Find out about 8 fragrances from the Dark and Drunk discovery set coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. That's Joe right there.
This is Joe.
He is back for another video for you guys. We're going to do an overview of some of his favorite fragrances in the future, a little bit of a profile of him as well. But for now, we are profiling different houses.
Indeed we are.
Today we're talking about Borntostandout. I've already done a video on some of their fragrances featuring from this video and also from the Dirty and Sticky fragrances. If you want to go catch that video, you can. But today we're talking about all 8 fragrances that are in the Dark and Drunk discovery set. We're going to start off with Burnt Roses.
There you are.
So this is Burnt Roses. It's part of the Dark and Drunk. So this probably falls into the Dark. Burnt Dark. It's Bulgarian rose, Aldehydes, Cashmeran, Ozonic notes, black pepper, incense, Ambergris, cinnamon, Cachalox, Olibanum, Sandalwood, Lavender, Patchouli, Oakmoss, and salt. So unfortunately, out of the entire collection, this one is kind of disappointing for me. It's created by Florian Gallo, which actually he created my favorite fragrance in this collection. I'll tell you when we get to it. But if you watched my original video, you'll know which one it is. But this one doesn't do it for me.
It doesn't do it for me either. I think mixing together aldehydes into something that's supposed to be dark and smoky, it's
a contradiction.
It's a big contradiction, and I do enjoy contradictory fragrances. I like it when there's like a yin and a yang to a fragrance. I think that's great.
Yeah.
It has to be executed well, though. In this case, I don't believe the execution was there. I don't exactly know what he was possibly going for with the aldehydes and the rose. It fell short for me for the rest of this collection, because this collection is very interesting. They have naughty names and like cool little concepts to them. I really enjoy the look of the brand and the smell of the brand.
And the bottles photograph really nicely.
Very aesthetic.
Really nicely, especially on a fig tree.
Oh yeah.
If you caught my Instagram post recently on fig porn.
I actually saw that. Yeah, that was great.
Anyway, yeah, I think I don't know, this one's falling flat for me. I've smelled fragrances that combine rose with aldehydes, especially Frederick Mahl's Superstitious, which is sadly now discontinued. Amazing fragrance with the aldehydes and the rose. This one, unfortunately, just doesn't go anywhere. Also, I should say, it really does connect with the other fragrances. There's definitely a powdery, dusty DNA here with these fragrances. What do you think?
I think there is a dryness to the fragrances, for sure. They wear dry.
They wear dry.
Indeed.
All right. So the next fragrance we're talking about is DGAF. We won't say what it really stands for.
You know.
So this is created by Christophe Raynaud. He is a very busy guy, like perfumer Quentin Biche. His name is all over the place. This one is amber, bergamot, sage, sandalwood, citruses, pepper, rose, incense, tonka beans, cashmeran, musk, black balm. And if you notice also, a lot of notes are credited for the fragrances, which is kind of cool. We get to know what the fragrances are all about, not just listing one note for top note, one note for heart note, and one note for base notes. There's a ton of notes here.
Yeah.
So this particular fragrance, to me, it smells really nice, but I feel like it doesn't belong in the collection. It smells kind of like a designer fragrance. But if somebody was to wear this one, I think it would be a crowd pleaser the way it smells, because it's in that kind of a DNA as a, I don't want to use the word blue fragrance, but kind of sort of, but more of a potent variety, and once again with its same DNA, dusty, powdery, dry.
Yeah, and I agree with Sebastian. For me, the moment I smelled this fragrance, it wasn't a love at first sniff. I have it ranked fairly low for this house, at least. Like I mentioned with Burnt Roses and for the line in general, I think there is a really great theme running through it. And this one seemed to be a bit of an outlier from it. And I agree, it does go in a bit of a blue direction. It's not a blue de Chanel. It's not necessarily what you would expect from a blue, but it does have blue tendencies in it while still being dry. So it's interesting. Not my favorite, but interesting, I will say.
Yeah, I would also connect this to something like, let's say, for example, this is the crowd pleaser of this house. Like, for example, Joe Malone has wood sage and sea salt.
Yeah.
Everybody seems to love that fragrance. This is probably going to be that fragrance for this house. Everybody's going to love the smell. I think it'll smell great on people. Yeah. It's also very, the type of fragrance people love on other people. That's why I'm ranking it low, but I think it's executed really nicely.
I think it was executed well as well.
But it might be a popular seller. Who knows?
People might actually end up loving it, though. I mean, I'm sure people will love it.
Yeah.
In all reality, I think it will sell well, and I think people will enjoy smelling it. Again, personal preference here. It's just not my favorite from the line because this line is good.
This line is good.
I'll tell you that.
There's some good stuff there.
Indeed.
So I didn't mention at the beginning of the video, Borntostandout has chosen to work with all Firmenich perfumers. I don't know if you guys know this firm. Firmenich, Givaudan, IFF, Robertet, Mann, Simrise. These are all different firms that have perfumers working for them. Drunk Lovers is so good, I have to mention. This is the next fragrance I'm talking about. And this is created by Hamid Merati Kashanni. This is his year, I think. He's got so many fragrances.
He is everywhere.
He's launching.
And he's doing well.
Yeah. I've actually met the guy. He's a very nice guy. I've seen him all over the shows. I'll probably see him this coming shows I'll be going to. But this is Drunk Lovers with sandalwood, grapefruit, pepper, red berries, ginger, clary sage, cognac, bergamot, patchouli, vanilla, vetiver, amber, cedarwood, citronella, cardamom, cinnamon, musk, juniper, benzoin, cypress. Man, it's got a lot of things happening. This is very complex.
Yeah.
But this is super delicious. Drunk Lovers is a boozy fragrance dream come true.
It's a sexy fragrance.
You like it?
I think it's very sexy, yeah.
What do you like about it?
I really enjoy, I mean, there are lots of boozy fragrances on the market, but this one does stand out. It's got sweetness, and it has booziness, and it has not necessarily creaminess, but the sandalwood does come through for me, and also citrus. But it has spice as well. There's just so much going on. It's It's complex. Yeah, there's a lot to it, and it wears complex as well. The dry down, the opening, the finish, everything about it. It's all, there are different levels to it, and I think it's quite lovely.
Exactly what he said. Levels is true because I'm getting booziness. It goes away. Something else kind of shines. That goes away. The booziness comes again. Because there's so much happening all over the place, it just makes for a wonderful wear. I think that might be my new number one, but it's very close to the other one, I think, because they do boozy well. They really do boozy.
They do.
And tobacco very, very well. And this one, I think Hamid Merati Kashanni did a great job on.
I think this one is also very close to a number one for me. However, when I wear it, it's funny because it's almost like I'm wearing multiple fragrances at once. Kind of like what Sebastian was saying, where something else takes the forefront and then like another one goes in the background. It's a very interesting, unique fragrance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, next, keeping the tradition of being drunk, because this is, after all, the Dark and Drunk collection of fragrances. This is Drunk Saffron. I really like the name of these fragrances. Drunk Lovers, Drunk Saffron.
Yeah.
I've never seen a saffron that was drunk, but...
I haven't either. No. Not too many alcoholic saffrons out there.
No, not that many. This is created by Honorine Blanc, a Firmenich perfumer. This has notes of saffron, cognac, leather, Indonesian patchouli, vanilla, coffee, plums, and musk. What do you think about this?
It's lovely. It's not overly leathery. Although the saffron does have those leather nuances to it, but I get quite a bit of coffee in this one, and I also get quite a bit of vanilla, which I am...
The vanilla is really strong.
Loving on, yeah. There's quite a heaping dose of vanilla in here.
Vanilla cognac combo is super delicious.
I also get patchouli, though.
Yeah.
The patchouli does shine through. So there are lots of things going on, kind of like Drunk Lovers. However, Drunk Lovers is definitely a bit more complex, but there's lots of notes that are all kind of fighting for number one in a good way, though. Yeah, it's a very nice fragrance.
Yeah, the saffron cognac combo is a really great combo. Whoever thought about it,
yeah.
I think whatever brief the people of this house gave to the perfumer, Their brief was really great idea, and the execution was really great as well. And the name was really, really catchy. They have really, really catchy names here.
Yeah. The perfumers understood the assignments when they were briefed on what they wanted.
True.
So
yeah.
They definitely understood.
Yeah. Up next, another Hamid Merati Kashanni created fragrance. This is Sex and Cognac. So this fragrance was featured in the video I've already done for the house, and I had ranked it low, but I've kind of understood this one now. I'm enjoying it a lot more. It has cognac, Laotian oud, papyrus leather, and saffron. It kind of reminds me of the idea of drunk saffron because it's boozy notes and saffron again. Mm-hmm. I get a major leathery touch with this one. At first, it's a bit off-putting, but it's because I'm smelling leather, like burnt leather. But I think it's the oud.
It could be the oud.
But you appreciate it after you kind of fizzle away with the top notes. It goes away and it becomes more boozy.
This one's definitely more of a savory cocktail.
It's not sweet.
It's not sweet, but
it's missing the vanilla to sweeten it up.
If there was vanilla in here, this would be insane. Yeah. I still really do enjoy this fragrance. And when I first sprayed it on, I actually got, for whatever reason, a coziness. And I'm not sure if Sebastian's picking up on it like I am, but
I'm not getting cozy with this. It's a bit more daring. I think of like dark alleys and just like nighttime drinking and getting effed up.
and I see
leather jackets.
I see wearing a cashmere sweater and spraying this on, cuddling by the fireplace. So I'm not too sure. I do understand the daring aspect to it, but at the same time, I feel like it
remember, it's called Dark and Drunk.
It is dark and drunk, I know, and there's something about it that is playing with my nose, and it's telling me to wear a sweater. I don't know what it is, but I am a fan of this. I really enjoy
telling
this.
Me wear leather.
And I can see what
leather
Sebastian's
jacket.
saying, and I also see what Sebastian's
Stopping
saying.
there.
That's it.
All right, Sex and Cognac.
Sex and Cognac.
Created by Hamid Merati Kashanni.
Again, there we go.
Yeah, Hamid Merati Kashanni is really busy, but we're talking about Florian Gallo here. We had 2 fragrances from him, starting with Burnt Roses, which I don't care for that much, but this one I absolutely really love. He did a great job on this one. It's Smoking Gun. It's juniper, pine, bigarad orange, rum, Campari, whiskey, incense, Virginia cedar, tobacco, leather, vanilla. First off, I should say this does remind me a little bit of Acro's Smoke. Smoking Gun, Smoke. Acro is Olivier Cresp. He's also with Firmenich, so maybe they're using similar ingredients, and that's why it's reminding me of one another. What do you think about this one?
I think this one's lovely.
I really love this.
It's a very...
Really love it. Oh, I love it. It's so good.
Oh, yeah.
It does remind me of Smoke from Acro.
It's citrus, but it's smoke and leather and a little bit of sweetness, and then there's woodsiness from that cedar as well. It's just...
The tobacco. Don't forget the tobacco.
The tobacco comes through as well. Yeah, you're right.
It's smoked tobacco, but also like gunpowder.
Yeah, it's not metallic necessarily, but like...
And then there's the booziness of the whiskey. It's
great. It's like a Western.
This is dark.
It's like a...
It is like a Western.
It's like a Western movie.
Totally.
Yeah. I totally get that, yeah. But, very, very lovely.
It's really good.
Yeah.
I would wear this.
I would wear this. I would spend...
I do wear this.
I would buy this just from a boutique. I would just go in, purchase it with my own money.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
And also, guys, just to reiterate on the fact that I was sharing pics of fig porn, these bottles photograph really great. No reflections. There's no like reflective things on it. White photographs great, and the letters of the names are on there so perfectly.
Yeah, they really
So
pop.
if you're an Instagrammer, try get some of these fragrances.
Also, when it comes to fingerprints, because fingerprints are perfume photographers' arch nemesis.
Yeah, that's another thing.
They really don't come through on here. The
No.
matte finish on here does not really allow for fingerprints to shine through. So fantastic aesthetic bottles.
I'm a fan of these bottles.
Yeah, the bottles are photogenic.
Totally. All right, so we've got another fragrance. This time it's Unholy Oud, created by Dora Bagaric. It's Laotian oud, Bulgarian, Turkish rose, patchouli, sandalwood, lemons, rosewood, bergamot, incense, heliotrope, vanilla, tonka. There's that combo again, oud and rose. Are we getting burnt out on this combo?
A little bit.
This one to me, once again, this one's actually good.
It is good.
Not my favorite, but it's good. Once again, very fitting of their DNA. It's so dry. But I'm picking up saffron in here, and I don't see saffron listed.
I get a bit of a leatheriness that could come from Saffron. I do pick up on the oud and the rose.
Oh, definitely.
And that combo is executed well here. It's not necessarily a redundant oud and rose that you're going to smell everywhere else. It is...
Doesn't smell like black oud.
No, and it has its own legs, and it stands tall on those. It wasn't ranked uber high for me.
Because I am a bit bored of oud.
Yeah, oud and rose. It's very overplayed now, but it does stand out. From other oud and roses that I have smelt, it does not fall back into the masses of all the ones I've smelt. But a little bit of a powderiness as well. Slight powderiness.
I think it's very powdery, and it matches the DNA of the others. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just totally fitting of the collection. I'm a bit bored of oud, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Anyway, unholy oud. Last but not least, we've got Zest Z&T. This one I actually featured in my Gin Tonic Juniper Berry video. This is another fragrance created by Honorine Blanc, featuring gin, juniper, lemon verbena, pink pepper, cardamom, coriander, clary sage, black pepper cedar, elemi, patchouli.
Boom, boom.
This is a very aromatic, ice-cold fragrance, but once again, powdery, just like all their fragrances. This is their DNA. Mm-hmm. I think the DNA is so cohesive. It's like, it's there. It's like very connected.
They play very well together, and
I like this.
I think it's a really good fragrance, and for a fresher take, other than DGAF, which was also
I was just going to say something about DGAF.
It's a slightly fresher take in this house, but this one trumps DGAF, in my opinion. This one is a little bit better, in my opinion.
I was going to say, they're kind of very crowd-pleasing and not necessarily, like, very niche when you smell them. But what is it about DGAF you don't like and you like this one?
This one, I think it just adds something. The verbena, the lemon verbena comes out a bit more for me, as well as the juniper and obviously the gin. It does kind of smell like a gin and tonic, and it's zesty. The name doesn't lie to you. It does have a little bit of a zest to it, but also spices. The spiciness is quite nice, and I think it adds a good, kind of wakes you up a bit when you smell it, you know?
I like this one, but I think it's similar in line with the DGAF that it has something not necessarily very niche quality, I should say. I mean, that's not something I should say with those words, but it's not necessarily daring like the names of these fragrances. It's very, it could be a crowd pleaser, but I really enjoy that one too.
It could certainly be a crowd pleaser. If you want to buy into this line and experience this line, but you're not really in the market to be as daring as some of the other fragrances, Z&T, DGAF, definitely could be great options for you.
Yeah, very easy to wear, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So my number 3 is Sex and Cognac. So I put Sex and Cognac here. I'm getting mixed up with a lot of the fragrances. So Sex and Cognac does smell a bit like what drunk saffron would smell like. To me, I get saffron touches, leather touches with Sex and Cognac. So it's a bit confusing, but I enjoy this one a little more than Drunk Saffron. It's executed nicely. It smells great. It's a bit boozy, but not necessarily very much. But it's a bit naughty as well. I enjoy the combination of notes.
And it is leathery.
It's leathery, yeah. That's the saffron. The saffron creates that leather, and I like this kind of leather where it's more herbal, not herbal, but aromatic and spicy, but not the animalic and funky smelling leather.
Yeah, I agree with that. For me, my number 3 was Smoke and Gun, and the top 3 for me, they could all be interchangeable. It was a tough top 3 to rank. Smoke and Gun, though, I put it down at number 3 just because the first one, or my number 2 and my number 1 stood out just a bit more, but Smoke and Gun is a very, very special fragrance, and it just incorporates so many great things and puts it into a bottle for people to enjoy, and it's smoky, it's gunpowdery like Sebastian said.
I love that.
There's spiciness. It's really great, and there's a little bit of sweetness like laying down in the base, but lovely fragrance. Yeah.
That's your number 3?
That's my number 3.
So my number 2 is Drunk Lovers. Such a good boozy fragrance. Sweet, spicy, boozy, ambery, woody, but once again dry. Again, this house is a dry. What other brand we talked about that?
That was Suspiro the wood shavings.
Yeah, very dry.
Yeah.
This is a dry house like Sospiro, but more powdery dry rather than wood shavings dry.
Yeah.
But Drunk Lovers is so good, so good.
So
it was
good.
almost a toss-up between Smoking Gun, which is my number 1, but Drunk Lovers came in at number 2. But I think out of all the boozy fragrances, Drunk Lovers is the best. I think Smoking Gun has a little booziness, but this is much more boozy.
Yeah.
I love wearing it.
It's my number 2 as well. I think Drunk Lovers plays beautifully off the skin. It's really, really beautiful. It's naughty. I think all of these fragrances do have that, or most of these fragrances have that naughty appeal, and it's partially due to the marketing and.
I thought that was part of Dirty and Sticky collection.
I don't know. These ones they feel like they're rambunctious, if you will. Like you could wear these fragrances and you could go get into trouble. Not that that's like necessarily what
Maybe
you want to do.
Maybe you might get drunk off of these boozy fragrances.
You might get a little fragrance drunk.
So
off
be
them.
careful if you're not drinking.
But Drunk Lovers, fantastic.
Love it.
Lovely fragrance. We tied at number 2 on that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And my number 1 is Smoking Gun.
Yeah.
Same as the last video. I really love this. It does remind me of Smoke from Acro. And Smoke from Acro has been my number 1 from that house. I love that about this one. It's a bit boozy. It's sweet vanillic. Once again, powdery, but definitely there's smoke there. A bit of the gunpowder effect. The tobacco adds that tobacco-ish touch. Really great fragrance. Love it.
Really great fragrance. My number 1 is going to be Sex and Cognac, and this was a love at first sniff for me. Again, going back to that thing where I mentioned wear a sweater and get by the fireplace.
I don't get the
I don't know what it is, but for whatever reason it paints
a sweater with this one.
It paints a picture. It's not sweet and cozy, and it's not necessarily inviting, but it's more so.
Yeah, because if it's sweet and cozy, it would be the sweater by the fireplace.
That would be the sweater by the fireplace.
But
I don't know what it is.
This is more like going out and getting into trouble.
I love it though. Sex and Cognac is so good. It is boozy. It is, in my opinion, the most well blended out of this whole collection. And for me, the top 3 was very difficult, like I mentioned. And
top 3 is good.
For me and Sebastian, I believe our top 3, we all had the same fragrances. We just ordered them differently. And that speaks a lot about the fragrances in our top 3 because it's a toss up between those 3. At least for me, any of them could have taken the number 1, but Sex and Cognac just stood out a bit more for me. I think it's lovely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching this video on the Dark and Drunk collection of fragrances from Born to Stand Out. Again, the fragrances are sold at Ministry of Scent. If you are in town, go check them out, or you can just check them out online as well. We will plan to do a part 2 of the dirty and sticky fragrances from Born to Stand Out, but that's going to be within the next couple of months, so stay tuned for that. If you have any questions or comments, please write below. Other than that, please like this video, please share it, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.
Cold is a good way to describe it, like you said.
The f***.